Welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, 1 or 2 still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
Hello everybody and welcome to another night of live Penguin TV. My name is Jordan, I'm your host this evening and I am a ranger here at Phillip Island Nature Parks' Penguin Parade, and we are waiting for the smaller species of penguin, the little penguin, and you can see a few rafts of them out and about, those little kind of dark shadows in the water. We are waiting for them to think that it's dark enough and safe enough to cross our beautiful beach here in Summerland Bay back to their burrows on land here on Phillip Island, Victoria, Australia. Now tonight I'm also joined by another wonderful ranger, and that is Tom. Tom, come on in, say hello and let us know what you're going to be doing tonight.
Hi everyone, welcome. I'll be keeping an eye on the Facebook feed for any interesting questions. So we do get a lot of questions through, and we can't sort of pass everything on. But
as much as we'd love to.
As much as we'd love to. So we'll try and get it to as many as we can. Keep them interesting. Where were we? 514 penguins last night and 771 on Monday night.
Beautiful. And Monday, you were the one presenting. You were hosting Live Penguin TV. So he got more penguins on Monday than yesterday.
And I got upstaged by a goose.
Upstaged by a goose. How fantastic is that? We'll see who decides to upstage us tonight. Now, I'm watching this little raft over here. It doesn't seem to be that little. It's a fairly substantial raft. So a group of penguins out at sea is called a raft. And you might have seen a few of those hanging out just before. We've got some nice, really calm, clear conditions on Phillip Island at the moment. Not too much wind, not too much swell. So yeah, hopefully these little penguins will decide that in the next couple of minutes, it's going to be safe enough to start heading on home. Now, of course, they call Phillip Island. Oh, looks like the raft is splitting off a little bit. Can you see that? Probably going to different areas along the beach, because just like us, penguins have their own address. So they've got their own burrows that they're heading back to when they decide to come on land in the evening. Now, as I mentioned, we call Phillip Island our home, but Phillip Island is also known as Milau, and that is the Bunurong name, the traditional custodian's name for Phillip Island. So we like to acknowledge the Bunurong as the traditional custodians of this land, of Milau, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge the way in which the Bunurong have cared for this country over many, many thousands of years. And we are very, very fortunate enough to have a thriving ecosystem here on Milau, here on Phillip Island. And yeah, just want to pay my respects to the way in which the Bunurong have lived harmoniously with this land for many, many years. And I encourage all of you to do the same as well. So here come our little feathered friends. They are zooming in onto the beach. You can see they're not just kind of a stationary dark patch in the water anymore. They are definitely making a beeline towards our Penguins Plus pathway, our most popular penguin pathway here at the Penguin Parade. And oh, it looks like as they get a little bit closer to shore, they're gonna have to do some penguin surfing. Oh, they didn't manage to catch that wave over there. I'm sure they will arrive very, very shortly, but I want to zoom out because I thought a little bit earlier, before we started our live stream, there were a few penguins already at the water's edge, and I just wanted to check if they were still there. Nope, does not look like it. So maybe I will head, oh no, there you are. I knew I wasn't being crazy. So these are the early birds of the night, everybody. These little penguins hit the water's edge about 5 minutes ago. They were so keen to get home, but crossing the beach at the end of the day is the scariest time of day for these little penguins because they're only very little. They're about 1 foot tall, and they are not very good at defending themselves against any big scary predatory birds that might be flying out and about during the day. So their best form of protection is out in the water. Their beautiful blue feathers on their back help them camouflage against the surface of the water. And when they're ready to do their little dangerous dash home across this open beach, they want to do it under the cover of darkness when those predatory birds have gone to bed for the night. Now, there's safety in numbers when these little guys are crossing the beach. So this group of, is it 5? Think so, 5 or 6. They are probably going to be waiting for some reinforcements just because it is a little bit risky trying to cross all by their lonesome. Now, we did leave that raft who was kind of busy zooming on in. I just want to zoom out to make sure we haven't missed them washing up on a different area of the beach. Can anybody see them? Maybe not. So I reckon what those penguins were doing, who have just disappeared from now, they while they're waiting for their little friends, it's not like they know or they hope other penguins are coming. They're listening for a very specific sound called a huck, which, oh, here we go, which is a little bit of a location call out, and they've met up. Hello, welcome home, everybody. They make a sound called a huck, which is like them saying, is it dark enough? Can we cross the beach yet? What do we think? Is it safe? Can we cross? Yes, no, what are we going to do? And it sounds a little bit like huck. So if this is your first time watching live Penguin TV and you're looking through the comments on Facebook and YouTube and you've seen a whole bunch of people saying huck huck, it is kind of our catch cry here at Live Penguin TV because that's how the penguins greet each other out in the ocean. And now that this raft of penguins, a group of penguins out in the ocean, has hit the sand, we like to call a group of penguins on land a waddle of penguins. So the raft has transformed into a waddle, and our Penguin Live TV enthusiasts, our regular watchers, like to call themselves the waddle watchers. So our waddle watchers are the ones out there probably saying huck huck to each other because a lot of them have been watching Live Penguin TV since day dot when it first began about 18 months ago. So thank you to everybody who has stuck with us over that time, and welcome to any other newcomers. I hope you're ready for a fun night of penguins and any other animals that may decide to interject or try to upstage us or the penguins, just like the Cape Barren Goose did to Tom and Viv on Monday night. So here we go. It looks like the penguins, they're really gathering together. Oh, there's one or two kind of underneath that Live from Phillip Island Nature Parks logo that kind of race back into the water. So I wonder if they've decided that these penguins that we're watching in the center of the screen are a little bit too ahead of them, and they're deciding to wait for some more groups of penguins out in the ocean, because penguins will continue to cross this beach for up to 3 hours sometimes each night, but usually about 80% of the penguins will cross in the first 50 minutes, which is how long we count penguins for. And as Tom mentioned a little bit earlier, oh, look how close together they are sticking. Good work. Oh, they're leaving someone behind in the rocks, I think. I wonder if he's going to be able to catch up. So yeah, every single night we are actually counting these beautiful little birds crossing the beach. Oh, here we go, picking up the pace. We've been doing this nearly every single night since 1968. So it's a part of a really long ongoing bird survey. It's the longest bird survey in the world here in Australia, which is wonderful. And it tells us a lot about how the colony is changing over the decades. So it gives us a really long, extensive data set, which is always fun to play with if you're a scientist or if you're a mathematician. Now, it looks like these little waddlers have decided to, do their dangerous dash, and they have made it to safety here on the resting rocks in front of our Penguins Plus viewing stand, which hopefully we'll be able to have all of you back nice and quickly. At the moment, we are only open on Friday, Saturdays and Sundays, but we're hoping that we'll be able to go back to being open 7 days a week, and we can have everybody back here again when it is safe to do so and once restrictions has eased. But in the meantime, I hope you are loving watching these beautiful little guys making their way home. Oh, something scared them. You can see them racing back into the water. The ones that are in this puddle, oh, I'm just going to zoom out. I wonder who is frightening our poor little penguins. Sometimes all it takes is for one penguin to have seen something or think it's seen something. But, oh, maybe it's this goose, although, I don't know, that's pretty far away for the penguins to be afraid of. All right, watch this space. We'll have to watch the penguins' behavior. Oh, it looks like they've recovered. They are on their way back. So yeah, sometimes all it takes is for one penguin to get a little bit of a fright, and it can send a waddle of 100, 200 penguins all the way back into the ocean. But usually once they're at that halfway point, crossing the beach, they generally, I use that word fairly loosely, they generally know that there's no point turning back if there's danger. If they're a little bit nervous, they'll run straight up into the sand dunes where they can hide in the vegetation and any burrows on land. But when there is a threat on land, a perceived threat on land, then they will just all scatter like we saw just then. Oh, looks like some of them are deciding to jump into this little pool over here, and we're lucky that we've been having a lot of rain recently. So this little pool actually isn't always here. Whoop! And you can see that some of them aren't quite as graceful as others. Some plop in, some fall in. Oh, that was a nice one. Oh, that was a little bit of a belly flop, if you ask me. But yeah, the penguins love using this little puddle here, because penguins are much better at swimming than what they are at waddling on land. And I thought I might just flick on over to our penguin highway where we can get a nice close-up view of these little guys. This is highway number 1. It's the fastest pathway home for these little penguins. It's a nice kind of open pathway, and they know exactly where they exit the highway to get back to their burrow, because again, just like us, they've got their own address just like we do. Some of them might have a beautiful beachside residence, others might have to go nearly 2 kilometres inland. It just all depends on where their parents raised them, and that's where they will return to, or within a very kind of similar area as well. Now, might flick back to our main camera, and we've got a few penguins on land, and we've already seen a few cross, but I thought I might jump back to the beach. And yes, it looks like we've got a few more penguins getting ready to cross. So while it is still a little bit lighter out there, we might focus our camera a little bit further away while we've got a nice clear view. And while we're watching these beautiful little penguins cross the beach, remember you can ask a question throughout these streams at any time. Tom is busy looking through the comments on Facebook to see your wonderful questions coming through. So we'll do our best to endeavour to answer a few live on the stream. You'll know that if you've ever watched live Penguin TV with me, I could breathe underwater and I always have to consciously stop myself from talking to be able to answer a question. So how about we have a question from our audience now, Tom, before I get too carried away?
Okay, so this is from Natalia, who's 11. How fast can a little penguin swim?
Natalia, how fast can a little penguin swim? Great question. Our little penguins are very, very speedy out in the water. So their cruising speed when they're, just going for a bit of a casual swim out in the ocean, it's around anywhere between about 3 to 6 kilometers. But the highest speed we've ever clocked our penguins traveling at was 12.5 kilometers per hour. And for some of you, that might not mean anything too much, but a little penguin would be able to beat the I think, is it the 25 or 50 meter freestyle, some Olympic swimming record. A penguin can swim faster than an Olympic swimmer. I regret bringing up that analogy because I can't remember exactly what race that was in, but what I do know is that our penguins are quicker than the fastest Olympic swimmer, so they are pretty quick out in the ocean, which is really good, allowing them to catch fish, squid, jellyfish, salps, anything around about this big that they can swallow whole and fit into their beak. But it is generally not too good at helping them evade predation. So while penguins can swim pretty quick, they often can't, outswim something like a shark or a seal. They can be really speedy out in the ocean. So the best form of camouflage for a little penguin out at sea, the best way to evade predators out in the ocean is by its camouflage. It's beautiful blue feathers on top, so it blends in with the ocean, and they're lovely little, full of fish now, white tummies, so that anything looking up at the surface of the water with the sun streaming down, or the surface or the clouds, if like a long-nosed fur seal or a leopard seal is looking up, the surface of the water looks white. So our penguins are pretty well protected when they are out in the ocean. But here on Phillip Island, or around the waters of Milau, these little penguins are actually the top predators. So they don't have too much to fear out in the ocean, in the waters close to Phillip Island, except for those predatory birds that are flying around during the day. But our penguins are pretty clever. They know only to cross the beach under the cover of darkness at around about the same light level every single night. Now, I was just chatting to Tom about this a little bit earlier as well. We're having a bit of a think about what time to start our live stream tonight, because last night I think they crossed at 7:54, and then the night before was 7:46 or something like that. Yep. So nearly 10-minute difference. So I'm like, what time should we start the live stream? But turns out we got it pretty spot on before any penguins decided to make their way home tonight. And here they go, heading up off the highway back to their burrows. Hopefully they have a nice, safe and easy journey home. Alrighty, let's jump back to our main screen. It looks like we've got a few stars of the show hanging out on the resting rocks here. These little penguins are not in too much of a hurry. Their dangerous dash, or their kind of quick journey across the beach, it's quite a stressful, scary time for these little penguins, because they're really open, they're exposed, they're highly visible and vulnerable to any predators that might be out and about looking for a tasty penguin to snack on. But because a lot of our penguins are right in the heart, or in the start of the breeding season at the moment, quite a lot of them are not stopping on these resting rocks. They've got things to do, they've got places to be. Like we saw, they were heading up the highway, they were not stopping. Whereas these two penguins, maybe they don't have any eggs or any chicks at home, and they are just happy to have a little bit of a relax, to socialize after a big long day, couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, fishing and foraging out in the ocean, because these little birds spend about 80% of their lives in the ocean. They're pescatarian, they only eat seafood, so when they come on land, they're effectively on a diet, or they're fasting on. Looks like we're going to have a few more friends joining this 2 penguin party. So it looks like we've just had another waddle of penguins crossing the beach. So welcome home, everybody. This is what I mean when they keep coming up throughout the night, but we're lucky that we get most of our penguins crossing the beach when people can be here to view them for the first 50 minutes of our penguin count. So this is what we like to call penguin peak hour traffic. There's a little bit of a penguin traffic jam, so it'll be interesting to see if these penguins. Oh, there's one that's on the right who has decided to keep on going, but it looks like our original duo are not fazed by this incoming waddle. They are just happy to have a little bit of a break, chat to each other, and do some penguin yoga here on the resting rocks. But others are definitely on a beeline on the way home. Again, while it's still a little bit light, we might cast our eyes back out to the ocean because I have a feeling those 2 penguins that we saw earlier who were rudely interrupted by that onslaught of that waddle don't look like they are going anywhere, and it's getting a little bit darker. Oh, there doesn't seem to be too much going on out at the beach. I can see a few little white penguin bellies, but nah. Oh, actually changed my mind. Is that a raft coming in? Or is that just a shadow? Oh, yes. Oh my God, I'm impressed with myself that we're able to even spot another raft starting to make their way home. So it's getting a little... Is that rain? Is it raining outside, Tom?
Too busy watching questions.
Too busy watching questions. All right, well, how... There's a little... Well, we are on Phillip Island. We are in Melbourne. We can have 4 seasons in one day. So it would not surprise me. But how about while we're watching this little raft transform into a waddle, let's go for another question, Tom, from our audience.
This one I don't know myself, so I should know it, but we'll see how we go. This is from Margaret. How do you tell the difference between male and female Cape Barren geese?
Margaret.
I can't remember. I'm sure I've been told, but I can't remember.
I've never been told. So I don't know. I often look at pairs of Cape Barren geese, those big grey birds that at the start of the stream tonight you might have seen that big grey bird. It's our resident goose species here on Phillip Island. They, unlike our little penguins, Cape Barren geese do mate for life. So you'll often see Cape Barren geese in pairs. And I often look at them and go, I wonder which one of you is the male and female.
Something rings a bell about the males have got brighter legs or something, but I'm not sure. I wouldn't swear by that.
Yeah, okay. Maybe it has something to do with brighter legs. Well, I mean...
And behaviour's the other way too.
Yeah, well, I mean, if one of the geese is on top of the other, I think you kind of know.
I was talking about the mother staying close to the chicks and father riding shotgun, sort of assuming if there's trouble.
My mind went somewhere else, Tom. But I mean, on the topic of maybe the males have brighter legs, in a lot of different bird species, not our little penguins, both males and females do look the same. Oh, looks like we've got another little raft. Oh, yes, that is definitely rain. Penguins don't mind. It's like going from the ocean back into another ocean again as it's raining. Yeah, so some males have to be a little, they've got beautiful bright plumage, really big tails, and they have to do lots of dances and things to impress the females, which are quite often fairly dull, I hate to say that, kind of in colour, and the females get to choose the male. It's not quite, if that is why male Cape Barren geese have brighter legs, maybe the females like that. I could just be making all of this up, but yes, maybe.
We'll take the question on notice.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Otherwise, I will just be here speculating all night long. But love those questions that we don't quite know the answer to. And in fact, I remember a couple of years back, I was really curious about the Cape Barren geese, and I tried to do a little bit of research, looking up some different research and academic papers, and there's actually not a lot done on them, like not a lot of studies. Maybe, I don't know, there's not a huge interest in Cape Barren geese, so there's not a lot of money that goes towards studying them. But I remember reading something that said they don't even really know how long they live to, which is, a fairly basic question that you might want to know for any animal species. So If anyone would like to start a research project into looking at Cape Barren geese, please be my guest and keep us all alert to what you find out, because I would absolutely love to know more, because we see these beautiful birds all the time here at the Penguin Parade and along the Summerland Peninsula. And here we go. All right, back to our penguins, although it looks like this one penguin is just coming out of the vegetation. Maybe are you going to do some territorial displaying, or are you going to look for a mate, or are you potentially a shell gridder? Now you've disappeared, and I wonder if, is that you kind of poking out the side? Maybe. Nah, I got too distracted and I absolutely lost it. But anyway, it looks like we've got some pretty good penguin numbers coming through, Tom. I reckon we might be ready to rival last night's number. So if you are desperate to know how many penguins cross the beach tonight, you'll just have to tune in again on Saturday, which is the next night that we're doing the live stream, and I'm sure our live stream rangers will let you know how many penguins cross the beach tonight in this pouring rain. And it was a beautiful day during the day, really, really sunny. I thought I might actually go down to the beach, even though it was a little bit chilly still, but it looks like it's turned into quite the miserable evening, and we have a few penguins who are stopping. I wonder if that's because their way is potentially blocked by the infamous Cape Barren goose that I was just talking about in Margaret's last question. But yeah, they do seem to be kind of stopping, having a little bit of a look around. Let's zoom out a touch and see what is happening, kind of heading up. Oh yeah, there's our goose friend. Sorry, it's just behind my head at the moment. I can see it, you can't. This is the Cape Barren geese I was talking about. Now I'm trying to have a look at the legs, and without a comparison, I can't tell if one of them is brighter or not. Oh, and there's another. Oh, it's like the geese. Ooh, that goose is right on their little pathway. So I think we're going to have a bit of another goose gate. Is this goose gate 7 or 8 now? I'm not even sure. If you were watching, if you're watching live Penguin TV from day dot in fairly early on in live Penguin TV, there was a mama Cape Barren goose sitting on some beautiful little striped Cape Barren goose goslings, and she was not getting up and not letting any penguins pass on through. And it looks like this goose has decided to take up residence right on this pathway, and penguins I can see them hanging up on the highway, but I'm really interested to see what happens with the geese over here. They're very much creatures of habit, always heading back to the same burrow, taking the same pathway. And you know what? These penguins could just go a metre or 1.5 metres either side and be quite safe. Have they worked it out? Goose doesn't seem too concerned. Well done, Pengs. Very clever. Oh. So I don't know if anyone's ever been chased by a goose before, but even though these geese here are herbivores, they're vegetarian, they only eat berries, grass, leaves, things like, they're not going to eat a penguin or injure a penguin. There you go, go around, that's the way. Very clever penguins. Sometimes it does take them a little while. They're very, very close, aren't they? The goose is not going to harm the penguins, but because big predatory birds are a threat to these penguins, they are a little bit cautious of any big animals that might be nearby them in the colony. So they are exercising just the right amount of caution, and it looks like they've kind of stopped a little bit further on up. So I wonder if this is Brucey McGooseface and Lucy Goosey, or Baron von Gustav. I know there was a little bit of a competition to name these geese, but I reckon it looks like these penguins are safely past. Very, very good. Alrighty, how about we leave the penguin and the goose standoff, and we'll head back to the beach and see if there's any more penguins getting ready to cross. Good luck there, Pengs. I'm sure you'll be able to work it out like all the penguins that have gone before you. It doesn't look like we have too many penguins hanging around the resting rocks, but we do have a small little waddle, or a couple of waddles of penguins getting ready to cross the beach. I might focus on the ones that are just kind of leaving the rocks, so we've got a little bit more time to watch them. So it's quite interesting at the moment because we've had quite a lot of rain. You might have noticed, and I'll show you in just a second, that there looks like there's a little bit of a channel in the sand kind of off to the right, which is where some fresh water has been flowing. You can see it just there. From Swan Lake, the largest freshwater body here on Phillip Island. It's flowed down here and it's making its way down into the ocean. That's what's made up the type of water that's in the penguin pool just over here. I was assisting counting penguins on Monday when Tom was on the live stream, and it was really interesting. The penguins were actually coming up this little channel. Oh, some of them are running on back. What are you doing tonight, Pengs? Yeah, they were kind of heading up this channel, so they're actually disappearing halfway up the beach. It was really, really hard to be able to count them because it's nice to be able to rely on a whole stretch of beach to be able to, running back again, to be able to count the penguins, especially if they're in a slightly larger group. We like to kind of double or triple check our counts sometimes if we do have the time and the space along the beach to count them. But it made it really tricky when the penguins just disappeared halfway up, and it was... The first time it happened, you're not kind of expecting the penguins to disappear, and so you're like, oh, I'll start counting them halfway along the beach, and then all of a sudden they disappear and you go, oh no, I haven't started counting the penguins yet. But then you can count them when they're up on the rocks. It just does make it a little bit trickier because you can see that they're beautiful dark backs which help them so well camouflage out in the ocean. It does help them also camouflage and blend in a little bit. Ooh. Blend in a little bit with those rocks. Now I've just seen a little bird in the channel that we were just talking about. I just want to have a look and see who you are. I wonder if this could be, come on camera, is that a hooded plover? I think it is. It's a little bit hard to tell. Hang on, how much can I zoom in? I feel like I need my reading glasses. I'm gonna feel like a real dum-dum if that's not a hooded plover. It was just kind of looking a little bit...
I can't see a crest on my head, but...
You can't?
Not really.
No. It's really hard to tell. Okay, well, it's a little bit hard to tell. It may or may not be a hooded plover, but we are lucky enough to have a very significant population of the hooded plover here on Phillip Island. It's a critically endangered bird, and they call a lot of the beaches on Phillip Island their home. So I just got excited. I thought that might be one of our little hoodies that we help to protect, but it's just a little bit too far out for me to see. So sorry everybody if I got your hopes up. But yeah, another wonderful threatened species program that we have here at Phillip Island Nature Parks. And something that I did want to say is that here at the Nature Parks we are a visitor funded non-for-profit conservation organisation, which is a fancy way of saying by people coming to us here at the Penguin Parade, the Koala Conservation Reserve, Churchill Island Heritage Farm and the Nobbies. Oh, looks like we've got another little waddle making their way home. We do people who come to buy tours, tickets, souvenirs, things like that. It goes directly back into the conservation, education and research work that we do. So if you've ever come to visit us here at the Penguin Parade or any of our other sites, you are going towards helping our penguins, protect our Cape Barren geese, hooded plovers, eastern bar bandicoots, which we're always on the lookout for here on the live stream, as well as a lot of other wonderful animals that call Millau or Phillip Island home. So really, really looking forward to being able to open up to our full capacity 7 days a week when international and national borders or state borders open up and when it's safe to do so. So please come and visit us. You help give people like myself and Tom jobs and help us to protect our beautiful animals and our island environment as well. But if coming to the Penguin Parade is a little bit far off for you, you can donate to the Penguin Foundation and the link is in the description of this video. You can symbolically adopt a penguin, a hooded plover, eastern bar bandicoot, a seal. Oh, that penguin just got told off by that goose. Looks like our geese friends have moved a little bit. There is drama here on Live Penguin. Ooh! Definitely know who rules the roost here at the Penguin Parade. It's not the penguins, it's definitely the geese. Look at how much they've all dispersed. But just remember, these geese are herbivores. They're not going to hurt our penguins. And I just wanted to stop and have a look. at this penguin. Oh, looks like this little one's got a bit of a limp. Oh, you poor darling. So we do sometimes have penguins coming in with a little bit of a limp, like this penguin over here. Oh my God, no, there you are. You can see that it's a nice, fat, healthy looking penguin, and it can make its way very well on land, even though it does look a little bit awkward. We do have a little penguin, it can even put some weight on its foot, so that's a really good thing. It probably just got a little bit bashed up on the rocks as it started to make its way in, but if a penguin is looking fat and healthy and it can move really well on land, we do tend to leave them because it is very, very stressful to take these penguins out of the natural environment. You can be forgiven for thinking that they are, domesticated animals just because they are. They look so cute and they can get quite close to people and other animals that might share their home, but they are wild animals and they can be very ferocious if you let them. But yeah, if we do have any sick or injured penguins or other wildlife come in to the penguin parade or anywhere on Phillip Island, we do actually have a wildlife clinic right here at the penguin parade on site. Oh, that's a nice chunky looking penguin. And if you do donate to the Penguin Foundation, the Penguin Foundation actually funds our wildlife hospital. So if we do ever get a penguin, you can still see him hopping along. If we do ever see a penguin that we don't think is going to be able to survive out in the environment, we do take them to this little wildlife clinic and look after them until they're rehabilitated and ready to be released. So again, I have no worries about that little penguin. It could put weight on its foot. It was looking nice, fat and healthy, and it was able to pick up a decent amount of speed as it was heading on up the Penguin Highway. So nothing to worry about here, everybody. We do have wildlife first aid trainers working every night, and they, again, will be well and truly on the money if there is a sick or an injured animal that we need to take care of. Now, a couple of minutes ago, Tom advised me that there was 5 minutes left of the live stream tonight, and I will admit, getting ready to honour that 5 minutes, but the penguins just gave me something else to talk about, Tom, and I couldn't just leave it. So I feel like I've only answered 2 questions tonight. Let's finish off with one more question, and we will leave you wanting more penguins for the next live stream on Saturday.
Another hard one, because...
Another hard one? Oh, no. Tom, what are you doing to me?
I don't know the answer to this either.
Hang on. You told me that I better not ask any hard ones that I don't know the answer to, and now look what he's done, everyone.
Nice, easy one.
Okay. No, I can have a hard one. How about both?
No, I'm just curious.
Okay.
This is from Emma.
Hi, Emma.
Why are the little penguins blue and not black?
Why are the little penguins blue and not black? Now...
I had a theory, but it doesn't hold up because of New Zealand.
What's your theory, Tom? Hang on, you get to jump on in.
Okay. My initial theory was because the ocean around here is quite a marine blue. It's more aquamarine. Mm-hmm. So that's why they've evolved into the dark blue colour. And obviously, especially the bigger ones down south, it's probably darker ocean, down towards Antarctica. Having said that, New Zealand's got 3 different species, and one of those is blue, dark blue, and 2 of those are black, and they're on a similar latitude to us in a similar ocean. So that sort of shot that theory out the window. So the short answer is I'm not sure.
Okay, so I was interested with that. If the answer you were looking for, it's so they can blend in with the ocean. It was like physically, why are they blue? And yeah, look. That's probably a really, really good question.
Put that on notice as well.
Because, I mean, a lot of people ask why are penguins blue, and we say, yeah, because they can blend in with the ocean. Yeah. Great. But why? How are they actually blue? An interesting little fact or tidbit that I've heard in the past is that if you actually crush up penguin feathers, like with a little mortar and pestle, they're actually not blue. It's the way the feathers are structured that actually gives it that blue appearance. So technically...
It's a refraction of the light through the feathers.
Yeah, so it's not that the feathers themselves are actually blue, it's just all to do with the structure of their feathers that make it appear blue.
That makes sense.
And so from a safety perspective, if you're looking at natural selection, penguins that if you are really small and you're not very good at defending yourselves against big predatory birds when you're out in the ocean, it's going to be advantageous to be able to blend in with the ocean because you're not very good at defending yourselves against those big predators. So I would say that somehow through evolution that trait has been passed on, so that because the penguins that had slightly bluer feathers were the ones to survive, pass on, reproduce, and then that's kind of how things evolve. But as to how and why penguins had that blue refraction light feathers in the first place, evolution, I guess, is the answer that we're going to have. So why penguins have blue feathers is both a very simple and also a very complex question. And that was from Emma, was it? I think it was. Yes, beautiful. All right. So before we say goodbye tonight, there were just a couple of things. Sorry, Tom. I know I'm keeping you from going home. There was a couple of things that I was planning to weave into the live stream before I left tonight. But hey, it's going to turn into another Jordan 5 minutes because I just didn't quite get there. There was too much happening. Everyone who has watched Live Penguin TV a fair bit knows that one of my favourite topics to talk about is penguin poo, and I have an update for you, everybody. On Monday, I was lucky enough to be given the gift of penguin poo on my knee because I was holding one of our penguins in our research study sites. I was holding it nice and still, so Megan, one of our other live stream rangers, could attach a little penguin GPS logger to its back, because during the breeding season we actually like to track where our little penguins are going through when we like to see if there's a change between when they're incubating their eggs, when their partners are sitting at home. We want to know what the other partner is doing, and same goes when the chicks first hatch. We want to know if or how far away that other partner is going out in the ocean, and also when the chicks are old enough to be left alone, we want to know where mum and dad are heading out into the ocean. It helps us with some really cool information about marine spatial planning, which shows us where penguins are feeding out in the ocean, where their feeding hotspots might go, where their travel paths might be, so that it can help us to protect them out in the ocean. Because here on land, of course, we are in Australia under Australian law, and at the nature parks we are here to manage and protect these little penguins. But going out in the ocean, that's kind of everybody's responsibility. There might be shipping routes, there might be something to do with energy. I'm coming up blank, but the ocean is used by a lot of different people, a lot of different organizations and entities, and it's really important that we have lots and lots of information about our little penguins so that we know where they're traveling and that we can help protect the areas where they're traveling and where they're feeding to safeguard the colony now and into the future. So this tracking project is starting again this year. We don't have any data back from these little biologgers, or our little GPS loggers, which is kind of like a little penguin Fitbit. But yeah, hopefully a little bit later in the breeding season, we'll be able to have a bit of an update as to where our penguins are traveling. And in the past, they might have just headed up the road to Cape Bullamai. Some of them have also been to feeding in the hotspots around the Victorian desalination plant, some down near Wilson's Promontory National Park. And last year we had 2 female penguins that went over halfway from Phillip Island to Tasmania. So they're really exploratory birds. They can go many hundreds of kilometers away from their home here on Phillip Island. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update that yes, I was lucky enough to be blessed by the penguins. I got pooed on the knee, and their poo, while it tells us a lot of really amazing information about what penguins have been eating and what trophic level of the food chain they've been eating, it is very fishy and very smelly, and also quite hard to get out of your clothes. So I'll definitely be having to give those pants a little bit of a soak before I put them in the washing machine tonight. So that is what I wanted to update all of you on. It's never a live stream if I don't talk about a penguin penguin pooing, and I haven't been able to notice any penguins doing poos tonight, but I'll leave you with one final fact, and that is if you are lucky enough to ever spot a little penguin doing a poo, you will have just witnessed a Guinness World Record, because these penguins poo at the highest velocity of any animal in the world. So you will have witnessed a projectile pooer. Alrighty, Tom, I think that pretty much covers everything that I need to say for the evening. Thank you so much for everybody tuning into Live Penguin TV. Again, we can't wait to have you back here in person. In the meantime, if you want to help us with the conservation work that we do, helping us to protect little penguins and our wonderful other animals that we have here on Phillip Island, you can donate to the Penguin Foundation. And again, the link is in the description below. We really appreciate any generosity that you have, any spare little cent. Every little bit counts to help us to protect these special creatures and help us to learn more about them as well. So aside from that, tune in on Saturday night for another night of Live Penguin TV, fun stories and facts, and also to know how many penguins actually crossed the beach tonight, because it definitely isn't the end of the count just yet. You will just have to tune in on Saturday if you want to know tonight's numbers. Have I missed out on anything, Tom?
No.
Wonderful. All right, come on in and we will say goodbye and see you next time.
See you, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.